Welcome to Football Focus UAE, and it's the final show of the season. We're going to look at the league title, the relegation battles, Manager of the Year, the Golden Boot winner, and much, much more. Just like to say, before we start, a huge thank you to the Emirates Club and Adele, who have let us use the ground throughout the season. Let's get over to the action.
Okay, welcome everybody to our final episode. We're not going to give it a number today, are we? And we're going to look at the last three matches that took place, because they all took place in literally a week. Under a week, I think it was, Iain, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all thick and fast, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, and it's difficult to get access to the highlights. So what we thought we'd do, we'd have a special episode today and then look at the three matches, look at the three episodes, in one. We're going to look at, Iain's going to look at top of the table, who won the championship, or the league should I say, and it was, as everybody knows, it was between two teams. Have a quick mention about the Champions League third spot, because that was quite interesting.
Yeah, really close, went down to wide, didn't it?
Yeah, and I'm going to look at the relegation battle that went off, because it was so tight down there. As I always say, you couldn't breathe, it was that tight, and we know Hatta were always going down. It was between Fajir and Ajman. I have to say it was super exciting, and I was at that final game. You couldn't have written a better script here, and it was Ajman versus Fajira, the final game of the season. The winners take it all.
Yeah.
And what a fantastic game it was. I really enjoyed commentating. So we're going to do that. So I hope you enjoy it, but you'll see at the same time as we talk about matches, our cameraman Sam would like to say thank you to as well. He's going to be putting the highlights in, just the goals as we're talking about them. And as you know, you can have access to all the UAE Pro League goals, the highlights, which you can get them on our link as well. Sam, I'll put the link in there for you, so you can access the last three games and all the other games that took place as well. Okay, so without further ado, Iain, we'll talk about the winners of the league, Al Jazeera.
And
we went down to the final day again, Iain.
But it's been an amazing season. We've said that from the start, isn't it? With obviously the pandemic, the no fans, the social distancing. It's been a very, very strange season, but the quality of football and the games that we've seen have been absolutely superb.
It has, and even the interviews we've done, the managers, the players have all said it's one of the best seasons ever.
And you know, some of the games we've watched have been unbelievable. There's been, like I said, every week there's been goals, there's sendings off, there's own goals, there's overhead kicks, there's goals from 30, 40 yards. You know, you couldn't have asked for a better season. It's just such a shame that fans weren't able to be in the stadiums to watch it, but at least with our coverage and with the Pro League's coverage, you know, you've been able to bring the goals to everybody, so it's been absolutely brilliant.
And I tell you what I like about this particular season is you got goals from bad errors in defence, you've got wonderful goals from midfield, you've got goals that are team based, so you get everything here, because you look at other leagues, you have tight defences, it's a moment of magic, where here you get everything, and you get different styles of play here as well. It's Al Jazeera, the high pressing European way of playing. You've got the lower players playing that long ball over the top 80s style, and you've got teams that play that 4-4-2 classic.
Yeah.
So you get everything, here in the UAE Pro League. I don't know what you think.
No, I agree totally. Like you're saying, everyone has different styles. You know, lots of different players. Teams are the luxury of Al Jazeera have some superb players playing the ball into their feet, get the ball moving very quickly, and that's obviously something
you've always highlighted,
has always wanted to do, and one of the reasons why they're in the position they are, because of the squad he's been able to sort of cultivate and grow, and the way they play football has been really, really good. But
tell me, Al Jazeera, did they deserve it? I've always predicted they win. Remember that?
You did. I think for the very first episode, you predicted Al Jazeera. I went with Sharjah, who were at the time unbeatable. I think they went 8 or 9 games without
phenomenal
without losing. They really well. But I think Al Jazeera, just consistency was the key for them. They just kept grinding out results. They kept coming. They were putting pressure on everyone, and of course they've got some unbelievable players as well, which helps. The main man Ali Bakdout has scored now 20. Finished top scorer with 25 goals, and also 10 assists. Khalfan Mubarak 10 assists. So
says everything there, Iain. And I think the last, if you look on the UAE Pro League website, the manager won the manager of the month. Ali Mavkub won player of the month, and I think another player from the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Ali Kasif won the goalkeeper of the month. So he says it all as well. Yeah.
But it was in Banyas's hands with 3 games to go. Banyas were top of the league. If they had won all 3, they would have won the league. But unfortunately, it didn't quite go their way.
They had a tough run though, didn't they?
They did. They played Shabab, they played Al Dafra, and then played Al Wadda. Shabab, as we know, since the new manager's come in, Mahdi Ali, he's done absolutely superb. He's really turned them around.
You've said if they had him from the beginning, they would have done it.
They've not lost a game since November.
Won 2 cups.
Exactly. So that's a huge difference. To play them, drew with them. At the same point, Al Jazeera played Ashman. Ashman fighting for relegation. Drew 3-3.
I mean,
so it's still
I'm going to talk about that. Was a brilliant result. They were winning 3-2, Ashman.
Yeah.
But they grinded out the result, didn't they? Again.
Exactly. So it's gone into 2 games to go. Banyas playing Al Dafra, who were poor. They've been one of the poorest teams, I think, all season, and we're very lucky not to go down. When we've watched them, they've just been awful. They can't string passes together. Where we've looked at Hatton, we've seen Hatton improve. We looked at Ashman, and we thought Ashman going forward. We've got some really good players. We look at Al Dafra, they just look a poor team. They've got nothing. So no surprise there. Banyas hammered them 5-0. Al Jazeera went to Iain, tough fixture, 1-2-0. So it's going into the last game.
They did the business, didn't they?
Banyas drew with Al Wadda, and then Al Jazeera 1-3-1.
Yeah, we expected that. And you can see all the games happening as we speak.
And like we said before, thoroughly deserved it. The Al Jazeera Corsican game, 3-1. Torre scored 2. And Mahmoud scored again, taking his tally, like I said, to 25.
And he's finished his top goal scorer this
and
along with assists.
And if you watch the highlights, watch his last goal, the way he just rolled the ball over his foot and he flicked over the goalkeeper off the far post.
You can see it here.
Absolutely superb. And they deserved it. They really do. Like I said, they've been a joy to watch. The football they've played, they've ground out the results. It's not been all their way. They have lost a few games and dropped points where we didn't think they would have done. But overall, they've played well.
They've been a little bit complacent, like you said, at times. Yeah. But they've managed to grind out that result when they're not playing as well.
Surprising, that's their first championship since 2017.
Yeah, I saw that. I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
But in Marcel Kaiser's interview, he talked about consistency and quality, the unity they played together, and the positive possession football, and that's the key, really.
What about next season? I mean, I don't want to go too much into it, but do you think they'll be there or thereabouts again next season? I think Shabab Al Ahly, Sharjah, no doubt will strengthen up.
Yeah, I think they will be. It'll be interesting to see who they bring in. I think maybe they could try and strengthen a little bit across the midfield. They scored 64 goals this season. That's the most of any team. They're the second best defence, only conceding 29.
Stats say it all.
So they're there for a reason. But be interesting to see who they bring in. I can't see them losing anybody. No one's going to go. So that would be good. Banyas.
I mean, they nearly lived the dream, didn't they? I mean, they were so close.
I think as a neutral, it would have been great for them to win.
I think it would have been great for everybody.
They had a superb start to the season, didn't they? They had that little bit of a dip in the middle. I think they maybe dropped down to 4th or possibly even 5th. And then suddenly that sort of second half of the season,
they picked it up again, didn't they?
They were absolutely superb. And at times they weren't playing great football, but they were grinding out results. They were doing everything.
I remember that they played Hatta, didn't they? And I was commentating, and Hatta were by far the better team, but they grinded out the result and they got that goal. I know João Pedro wasn't playing; he was suspended for a game.
Yeah.
But they grinded out that result and got a win.
Yeah.
And Hatta should have really won. Yeah, one day. So they did.
Yeah, and they were, like I said, they're a great team. The way Daniel Azala's got them playing again, similar to someone like Calgary, where they're just so close knit, so tight. They play for everybody. They know what their strengths are. Everyone knows what their jobs are, and they do that. And when you've got someone like João Pedro up front who never gives up, he's still running in the 89th, 90th minute, chasing down lost causes.
It was a great loan signing.
And we've seen lots of opportunities that he's created from that, and goals that he's created from him chasing down balls that were completely lost.
But he's going. I've heard he's going to Al Ahly, and that'd be a big loss for Banyas.
Huge,
because he was their linchpin, weren't he?
Absolutely huge.
He was the final piece.
Yeah, it wasn't just the goals he was scoring; it was the way he's uniting everyone. Like saying, the way he worked hard, his work ethic robbed off everyone else, and they need. I don't know how they're going to replace him.
If they don't replace him, I can see him struggling. Great signing for Al Ahly.
Really good.
It's true.
Yeah, exceptional.
But let's finish off. So Al Jazeera, as you can see, I think everybody will agree with Iain, they deserved it.
Yeah.
They played over the season. They did. They were never really had a lull, did they? They kind of maybe had a odd bad game, but I think I can remember one bad game against Corsican. They lost 3-0.
Yeah, I don't think they were ever outside the top 4.
No, they were always there or thereabout. Yeah. And you can see they got the strength in depth. I mean, they bring like that. Was it Nigerian Ezekiel?
Yeah.
And they got that young 19-year-old Brazilian. So great. I can bring people like international players off the bench.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other team that can do that.
No, not at that level. And that's the difference, isn't it? When you've got that strength in depth. I think we talked about them 3 or 4 weeks ago that they were able to rest players for certain games. They were able to rest players, and they were still getting the 3 points and bringing the big players back when they needed them.
So
great for them. Champions League football for them and for Banyas.
So tell us about the third place, Iain. What happened? Because I thought Sharjah was in their hands, weren't it, going into the last game of the season? A win, and it was all theirs.
Sharjah going to Kalba, win for Sharjah, secures that third spot. They're in the Champions League, and
they grinded out a result that Aismanu played really well. I was commentating on that game. It was 0-0 at half time. Igor came on and he produced 2 moments of magic, a free kick and a wonderful goal. And I thought, they're done. Yeah. The Kalba are not really playing for anything. No pride. They lost. What happened here? It's your team.
Yeah. Well, again, it wasn't a poor performance. The goal was a brilliant bit of work by David Mariani down the right-hand side. Great ball chipped into the back post. Malapa, superb chest, and as the ball's come down, he's sort of swiveled, pivoted, and it's in the far corner. Great finish.
Nice slip though as well.
Yeah, he did just a little slip off balance. Just helped him and sneaked it through the defender's leg.
Again, you can see the goal here.
A great guy. Again, he's such a handful. His size, his strength, the way he brings the ball down, but he's also got great feet as well. He's not
always up there scoring goals every season.
Yeah, so. And then from then it was all pretty much Sharjah. Kalba just sat back a little bit, invited Sharjah onto them, and they had probably 5 or 6 clear-cut opportunities and just couldn't score. And that probably sums them up really. The last sort of 5 or 6 games that it wasn't written in the stars for them. The way they started off the season, that they should have won the league. The way they were going,
the team they've got as well,
and it just dipped, and it just didn't quite happen for them. And
who got the third place then, Iain?
Shabab.
Yeah, Robert's team. I bet if you look over it, I think they deserved it. The 2 cup finals and winning the 2 cups.
Yeah.
They haven't lost since November. Yeah. They're playing fantastic football.
Yeah.
I think for the UAE, the Shabab would be the best team to be.
And they've got some brilliant young players. Igor up there with assists. I think 8 assists this season.
Mohammed Juman he's a lovely player.
Brilliant player. When he gets the ball, he's so deadly. His pace, his direct play, very very difficult to get off the ball. And Shabab came from nowhere, because like I said, they were unbeaten since November, since Madi Ali came in and just
2 cups and unbeaten,
rejuvenated. They were scoring goals consistently, Shabab.
It was the draw.
It was the draw specialist.
7 was it, Iain?
Yeah, something unbelievable like that. And he managed to turn that around and turn those draws into victories. And for them to sneak into third place is absolutely superb. And Sharjah will be absolutely devastated from that. To miss out on Champions League football was poor, and they obviously finished 4th with Al Nassr finishing 5th.
But I think a lot of down to Sharjah. People who were talking about Iain and I is the way they play. People are starting to understand. They changed their tactics a little bit with that. Let's get them on the break with that pace and power, because they are strong athletically. They're very strong as well, powerful. But people are starting to catch on to that. I think
the big problem was but the way they were playing at the start of the season, they were very
direct,
taking the game to the.
They had the players to do that.
But the opposition were also, because at the start of the season, opposition were looking for points as well, so they were playing quite open styles of football. So there's lots of areas, lots of pockets for them to attack into and go into and create spaces and chances, and they were scoring the goals and getting the 3 points. But then what happened then, teams sort of worked that out and decided to not so much part the bus, but play a little bit deeper, not give them the room. Yeah. And they couldn't break them down.
I saw that with Iceman. Iceman were deep.
Yeah, and they couldn't find any space in behind the midfield, in behind the fence. They weren't getting the areas that previously they had to run into. And they didn't really have a plan B. They didn't know what to do. So they couldn't break down teams, whereas previously it was quite simple. So I think
teams were attacking and trying to get the points.
Because man for man, the players are some of the best players in the league.
So I noticed that against, sorry to interrupt you, but I noticed that against Iceman, they just couldn't break him down. It took a minute of luck. It took a lucky goal, long goal from Rakan, his second on the bounce. And it took 2 moments of magic. It wasn't like an open play goal or a breakaway goal, because Iceman was so deep. And it was a free kick and a wonderful goal. Yeah. But you can't rely on that, and that's what will happen. I think in Calvert, they couldn't always rely on that moment of magic. You need to be able to break teams down.
Quite happily put 2 backs of 4 and let them try and break them down with no space at all. And it is very, very difficult to do. And if the team isn't looking to go forward, there is no space in behind, and it's tough. And they found that very, very difficult to break down.
I think Wellington was a big loss for them, huge illness, because he's a number 9.
Yeah, and of course then he will then stretch the play so they can play into him as a target man, which means then it pulls the defence back a little bit, which then creates a little bit more space. He's also good at running behind, and he chased out lost balls, and with him not being there, they just didn't have that option. So that's something they need to sort out for next season.
They didn't have an out-and-out goal scorer like Wellington.
No.
To put them goals in, like Alan can break teams down, he can find that pocket in space.
And he can, for him, example, he can play certain different types of roles. He can play that target man, he can play that sort of false number 9, he can come and take the ball from midfield.
And play assist as well.
And play with different types. So that's I think where they lost it. Teams worked them out a little bit, they didn't have a plan B. Wellington was a huge loss, and to be honest, after the start they had, they didn't continue the season. Didn't deserve.
Shabab deserved it. They did. I really do, and I don't like saying that about Sharjah. Let us know what you think. Do you agree with us? By the way, we're getting some lovely comments, guys. Keep them coming in about our interviews and our analysis on games. It's really good. Thank you to everybody who has, my students, have been making comments. Thank you. We'd like to know, but thanks for that, Iain. So we're going to go now to the bottom of the table. There's not much to talk about, Iain and I. Look, the middle of the table kind of stayed the same. It was that 3rd place was interesting. Al Nassr, Shabab and Sharjah. The top 2 was a battle all the way. It's been a wonderful season. Then the bottom 3. I mean, we always said Hatton going down.
Yeah, there was a glimmer of hope, wasn't there? About sort of 6 weeks to go. They obviously the new manager came in. He started to change things. They looked more positive. They did start to improve. Just didn't have a goal scorer.
He came in a little bit too late, Iain, because they hadn't won a game. I think what's his name, Christos Contis. He hadn't won a game all season. They're on 1 point. Obviously, he had to go, as I do here. And Vladimir came in, and I think he brought in 16 new players and got rid of players and got them fit. And we always said that, Iain. If you notice in our past shows, Iain always pointed out the fitness and the difference to the new manager.
Yeah.
And he got them playing well, but they struggled to score, and the biggest problem was scoring goals. I've watched Hatter maybe 4 times on commentary, and they create chances, Iain. They really do. They just couldn't score for Toffee. I say it in my commentary. Banyas, they had 4 or 5, and I mean clear-cut chances. Yeah. And they were one of the lowest scorers in the league. And we always said they were the whipping boys that were going down. So I'm not going to talk too much about Hatter. I think they've got a good manager, good team, and if they keep that, they'll come up next season.
Yeah.
Very confident. A lovely club, family run. It's a very nice place to go. It's in the mountains. It really is a nice club, and I hope they come back next season. I've got quite a few friends there as well. But we're going to look at Ajman and Fajira. It's been an interesting season. We keep saying it, one of the best seasons, because Fajira, we interviewed Goran, Iain and I. You can watch it. It was the last interview we did, and he was a manager. And Fajira were okay. They were doing fine. Yeah, Goran says in his interview, he said that they're a team that they're not going to play to win the league, maybe do well in a cup run, but to stay in the league, that was their priority. And
he was getting them to play good football. His philosophy is he wants them to play.
Wants the ball on the ground.
He wants to pass the ball out from the back, and he was incorporating that into their play. And I appreciate it's probably something they hadn't done previously, so it would take time to develop. And
it was only silly mistakes. He said you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's a couple of times when the ball's played out from the goalkeeper into one of the centre backs, and he's miscontrolled it, which means then probably if the other team were high pressing, they managed to nick it off him, and they've scored a goal. In another time, he may have managed to get his feet clear, or the striker may have missed it. But it just seemed this season, every silly little mistake they made was punished by a goal. They were very unlucky.
They weren't unlucky, but they were okay.
Yeah.
They didn't look like, we never predicted them going down. We always thought Ajman and Hatter, we predicted them all along, and then it was a shot out of the blue. I mean, they got good players. Samuel Christos played for Sweden internationally, 2 games, got a goal. Ben Larby's a good signing.
Yeah.
They've got Issam. They've got some really, really good players in Fujairah. And defence, yeah, it needed working on, but it wasn't a bad defence.
No.
But then a shot out of the blue, Iain, the manager's out.
Yeah, and it didn't help, did it? Because obviously you've got a new manager coming in, new ideas, new philosophies.
Tunisian, unheard of.
Yeah, and I don't think the players just quite got to grips with it. And it looked, for me, morale was quite low. Whereas the opposite at Ajman, the morale seemed to be high there.
Well, they've brought in some new players that started picking up, and Fujairah went the other way. Funny, I have a good friend of mine who's been in the Pro League a long time, and he said as soon as he got rid of Gora and brought this unknown Tunisian, I'm not dishing him, I think he looks a good manager, they didn't win a game. I mean, they lost at home to Ajman. It was a game they needed to win. They were losing games they shouldn't have lost. With Goran, they wouldn't have lost. I'm sorry. And my good friend said, because of that, Fujairah will go down. He predicted going down. And it all changed, didn't it, from that moment on. Ajman brought in some new signings. A new manager came in Fujairah. They just weren't winning. They lost, I think they lost the first 5. Yeah, I've got it down here. With this new manager, Ajman started winning. And it dragged Fujairah down into that relegation battle. And I've got the last 3 games here, and I mean, you couldn't predict this. Can you believe that? I mean, this Hollywood couldn't have written this. The last game of the season was Fujairah at home against Ajman. They were on level points, and all Fujairah had to do was get a draw.
Yeah.
That's all Fujairah had to do. Get a draw. They're at home. You'd expect them to win here, if anything, because on paper, I have to say they are the better team. The team that's been longer together, and I was there. And but let's have a look. I tell you what the key was. What happened is Ajman played Al Jazeera. Remember the game, and everybody, if they'd lost that game, they would have gone down. When it come to the last game of the season, it would have been a formality. But would you believe it? They actually drew 3-3. They were winning 3-2. It was an incredible game to watch. And you'll see it in the highlights when Sam gives you the link. They were winning 3-2, I think, with something like 15 minutes to go at home against Al Jazeera. But as we said, Al Jazeera, they grind out the results. And they got it to 3-3. But that was an incredible result. Nobody predicted it, Iain. And I thought, if they get something out of that, they've got a chance. And I think that's what saved them, that game.
Absolutely.
Because the next game in Sharjah, on to Sharjah, they lost. But they held them on right to half time. It was only a lucky goal from Sharjah, an own goal from Rakam, and then it was 2 moments of magic, as I said earlier, from Igor came on as a sub. A fantastic free kick from the 18-yard line, and then the other goal, he took it on the left wing, cut in as they normally do, and curled it in with his right foot from 20-odd yards. Unstoppable. 2 goalkeepers could have stopped it, really, and as I always say, it was in the top corner. So it were 2 moments of magic from him that won the loss, but Ajman had their chances, they just didn't score. So it came down to this last game, and I have to tell you what happened. You'll get it in the highlights here. Fujairah scored. It was kind of a... was it Fujairah? I might be wrong here, was it? No, Ajman scored. Ajman scored. It was an own goal by Hamdan.
Yes.
Fujairah, and it was a comedy of errors. It really was. The goalkeeper saved it, hit a play in, and then Hamdan toe poked it in. The defender run back, cleared it, but he hit it onto his foot and back into the goal. It was really, watch it. It was a comedy of errors. But then, what a fantastic goal. Christos, Ben Larby. Ben Larby, Fujairah's player of the season. Christos gets it in the 18-yard box, so just on the edge. International player, top player. He just lobs it over the defence. Ben Larby comes over his head and he just volleyed it in.
It reminded me a little bit of the David Platt goal against Belgium. When
yes,
ball over, not quite the same, but ball over his
Any
shoulder.
English fans, you'll remember that. I remember. I'll never forget Gary Lineker's face when they scored. I'll never
So
have
similar, different side, but the kind of like that ball coming over his shoulder.
Come over and he just volleyed.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But it'd be interesting to see what happens to those 2 players, because I can't imagine they're going to stay for another season.
I don't know what Fujairah. It's going to be interesting to watch, because it's a shame they went down. Maradona brought him up, and then he left, and they had that 1 season, but they were in the relegation when COVID hit, and they had a second chance to stay up, and they would have stayed up with Goran. They brought in a good manager He's proven he's got an illustrious career, as you see in our interview, and he would have kept him up. There was no doubt about that. He brought that team, he put that team together, and I think if you want to trace back to the moment that Fujairah, why they got relegated, you can go back to that moment, Iain.
Yeah.
Believe me. But anyway, so Fujairah level it, they're up, they're staying up. And then it was a moment of brilliance, because Fujairah dominated the possession, they dominated the game. You can watch it here, and they had chances, they just couldn't put the ball in the net. And Ajman were defending with their lives on the line. They really were. They were giving everything, and it was an 80s style goal. The goalkeeper has the ball for Ajman. It's not Al Tamimi, I forget his name. He was coming in. He'd only played his second game, the goalkeeper, and he's injured for most of the game.
Yes.
He fell on his shoulder. He gets the ball, he recovered it in his 18-yard box. Plays a long kick to, what's his name, Maiga, from Mali. He's a big guy, he's been brought in. He flicks it on with his head, and this new signing brought in on January, you know the new signings we spoke about?
Yeah.
He's called Leandro Spazio. Is it Spazio? Spadasio. That's better. Leandro Spadasio, the Brazilian. And he flicks it on, and this guy's fast. He runs in between Hamdan and another defender. And Hamdan, I don't know, he had a game from hell, he really did. He just missed it completely. And it comes on it, and the goalkeeper, Tamimi, runs out, who's been one of the best goalkeepers this season. Runs out, and can you imagine this moment? It's in the 80th minute. And he knows if he scores, Ajman is staying up.
Yeah.
And the pressure that was on him, and he just, not only did he cope with that pressure, he just lobs it, flicks it over the goalkeeper. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I had the Ajman players below me in the commentary box. They went ballistic, the technical staff, everybody went crazy. It was a goal worthy to keep them up this season.
Yeah.
And that was it. You could see the Fujairah heads went down, Iain. It had everything, it really did. It was a wonderful game, and we have to say congratulations to Ayman and the manager. They've kept with him 5 years. I was having a look here.
Yeah.
5 years he's been with Ajman, but this is his worst season.
Yeah.
He's normally doing well with them, and disappointingly he's gone. Who's coming in here for Ajman this season?
We know the main man, Goran.
Goran. Yeah. I spoke to him yesterday, and I congratulated him, and he'll be here sometime in, I think he said end of June, I think he's saying. You were right, because I thought he came. It's end of June, beginning of July to start the new season. So we wish him all the best.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic sign, isn't it? You know,
I think
they've done a couple of right things. Ajman, the new signings they brought in towards the end of the season have made the difference.
Saved them.
And then
Jardel, Maiga,
Spazio, or however you pronounce it.
Spadasio.
Yeah, brilliant. They've made the difference. They've kept them up.
Maiga.
And then to bring Goran, I think is a masterstroke, because he's an excellent manager. He plays really good football. With the midfield and forwards Ajman have got, he'll get them ticking very quickly, and he's got that experience. He's got the knowledge to sort out the defence.
It is defence is his biggest problem. Rakan and Darlington, they've been poor this season. Yeah. They really have been poor, because Fujairah and Ajman have been the worst defence, along with Hatta. That's why they're down there, and they've scored the least amount of goals. Yeah. Them three are the bottom three, and them three are the worst. Yeah. The bottom three as well. So you can see he's not some mystery. They are down there because of the way they play defence. Yeah, but I think it's a great decision. I just hope that just not Ajman, but the rest of the clubs, they have faith in the managers. There's too many managers lose their jobs too quickly in the Pro League. Got to commend Ajman. 5 years. Yeah, and 5 years. And it just shows that someone like Shabab weren't afraid to go back and bring an old manager back in. Put faith in him. Look how well he's done. As well. He's done superbly, and let's just hope that Goran gets the opportunity to build the club in his ethos and his methodology, and take. I think Ajman is the right club for him, because they will stick with him like they did with Ayman. And I think it's a great place for him to go. And the team, the players, and the manager themselves, and the fans, and everyone. You need that consistency. You need someone who's going to be reliable, that that's going to be there for some time, because then you can work around that and build through it. So let's hope so. Okay, so that's our prediction. Well, not predictions, but that's our review of the season. We'd just like quickly mention Calvo. I know Calvo's in here. We have a special place for Calvo. We did one of our shows. We interviewed David Marley.
Yeah.
We've got to mention Calvo and Corsican. What great seasons.
Brilliant.
They made it entertaining this year.
Really good. Calvin finished 8th in the end.
Could have finished 7th. They got to nearly the final,
Yeah.
the cup. Fantastic.
Yeah, they've done really well. And again, beautiful club. When we went to interview David Mariani down there, they couldn't be more hospitable. The size of the stadium's nice. It's very homely. Really nice ground, great setup. They've got some excellent players. Malapa is superb. David Mariani is superb. We're still unsure what's going to happen with him, whether he's going to go back to Shabab.
Well, he's told us he wants to stay there.
Yeah, and why not? Because he's an integral part of that team. Everything goes through him, and he's played really well. 7 assists this season,
and he's played nearly every game. Yeah. He's kept injury free and keeps himself fit.
Their target has definitely got to be a cup final.
Yeah, and they go. Well, who we're going to predict it? Player of the year, Iain. I've called it a bit out of the blue. I didn't tell him I was going to do this. Give me a manager and player of the season. I've got mine, Iain.
Well, manager's got to be.
He's tough, isn't he?
I was going to go straight in and say Marcel Kaiser because obviously we're in the league, but the team he's got, they've always got they should really be looking at the top 2. I'm going to go for Banyas's manager.
Same as me. Daniel Isela.
Yeah, I think he's had a superb season.
He came so close.
Very unlucky. I think as a neutral, I would have liked them to win the league. They didn't at times play the greatest football, but their work ethic, their work rate, their determination, they never gave up. It's just a great story to see. And his dress sense is unbelievable. Some of his shirts he wears, his jackets, he just looks brilliant. So manager of the season for me, him for those reasons.
Player of the season. That's a tough one.
There is, but I think there's only one man, isn't it? The Golden Boot. 25 goals, 10 assists. I think he scored in the Pro League now something like 199 goals in 200 odd appearances. Brilliant. The guy is different class, and
it really is.
And it's Ali Makou.
And I can't. I want to say other players, but I can't say anybody else. Ali Makou. And we're hoping to do an interview with him. Sometime soon. We might get a special episode in conversation with Iain. That would be nice, with Marcel Kaiser and Cook.
But there's been other
confirmation.
Other great players around here. Ryan Mendes had a good season. Bruno Lamas from Corsican, unbelievable effort, some superb goals from him. It's been a superb season, and for me, being the first season, I'm really concentrating, really watched a lot of football here. It's been great, and I can't wait for next season.
And thanks, Iain. Thanks to Sam as well, and to Gavel. I mentioned Gavel and Robert and Ahmed, who came in and did some work with us as well. But Iain's going to give you heard the special thank you at the beginning from Iain to Adele, and I'd personally like to say thanks to the Emirates Club. They've been brilliant for us, and we have to congratulate them again. They got promoted, along with who's the other team that got promoted? Aruba from the East Coast.
So
we've lost East Coast. We lost Nigeria, but we got another one back. And a couple of new signings. So we got Ajman, got a new manager, and Masoud Suleiman. Where's he gone here? He's left at Al Dafra.
He's left Al Dafra and he's gone to
an East club on the East Coast.
Corsican. So he's gone to Corsican.
That is a fantastic signing. Corsican had a brilliant season, but the problem was the defence. Bringing an international defender like Masoud Suleiman would only I think it might take him a position higher, maybe get him in a cup. So a great signing for Corsican.
I think across the board, that's where clubs need to strengthen. Midfield and forwards are very, very good. Apart from obviously Banyas, who are losing João Pedro, and Sharsha probably need another striker if Wellington's not going to be back. Going forward, most clubs are pretty well equipped. Defence that needs
we
stability.
See so many errors, don't we? That's all we talk about.
Yeah.
Look where the defender was.
I think one of the big reasons is the guys who are playing defence on the whole generally are quite young, they're inexperienced. For me, I would like to see a European defender come in, an older player who's got that experience, who can sort of show them the ropes, learn the trade with them, because it's very, very different to another position. If you make similar like goalkeeper, if you make a mistake when you're a centre back or a goalkeeper, it's a goal. It can lead to a goal where you can get away with that in midfield. And the amount of pressure that these defenders are under. If these players are 18, 19, 20 years old, it's a lot of pressure. So I'd like to see teams across the board strengthen, but bring in experience from outside.
Very good point.
To help
Yeah.
them out.
I do teaching for the football coaches. Iain does from July, and they always talk about bringing young defenders. I'm thinking that's great, but you need experience to help these young defenders. Bring someone in older to gel them together, to help them. It's always young defenders bringing in. They talk about bringing young defenders.
And the problem is, it's a business, isn't it? So if you don't perform, generally what happens is the managers get the sack. So our managers can rely on, put their faith in these young defenders who are inexperienced, or are they going to look at bringing in some more experienced ones who can help build them? Because at the moment, managers aren't in the jobs long enough.
Yeah.
So what relevance or what purpose does it serve for them to bring on the youth? They need results now because of the nature of this league at the moment. If teams were prepared to stick with them longer, then there might be more emphasis on bringing through the youth because they've got a bit more time.
Like Alain, that they're doing
Exactly.
Khalifa, the young defenders and international players, but brought them through. The manager's been there a while. But look at Ajman, the two young defenders have had a nightmare. I mean, the last 3 games, Raka, he's 2 on goals and given away a penalty. They would have won Al Jazeera, but he gave the penalty away. That's young defenders. They need someone to calm them down.
Just an arm around the shoulder, just help them out. Positional play is a big thing, and just the reading of the game is the biggest thing, and the concentration.
So let's hope we see that. And what we'll do, we'll keep you up to date with any new signings we hear. Go to our Instagram. Iain knows what's going off. It'll be up there, posted on Instagram. Because I know it's difficult to get that information, Iain. Who's moving where. I mean, I only got Masoud Suleiman, you and I, because we know people. And they tell us, but we'll try and keep you updated through our Instagram and stuff like that. I don't know what else to say. A special mention to Kalba, Korfagan for doing well. They were predicted going down.
Yeah.
And well done to Ajman staying up.
Yeah.
And we hope for Gian and Hatta have a good season. But it has been, I have to say, a wonderful season. We're looking forward to next season. We're going to do things a little bit different in our show next season, so watch out for this. And hopefully you'll enjoy that too.
Yeah.
Anything else, Iain?
No, that's it. Great. Just thank you very much for all your views and comments, and keep them coming. And like Tony said, throughout the rest of the summer break, we'll be interviewing players, hopefully looking at a few managers. We're updating the Instagram, and if there's anything you want to see from us, just let us know.
Yeah, we like your feedback, and we've got that a lot. So thank you very much. Okay. All right. Assalamu.
Assalamu.